Hello, sumo fans.
Happy July.
The dead of summer.
It's hot. It's nasty. But we've got sumo.
And I think everybody is really getting a little restless and waiting for this.
A little fidgety.
It's like, come on, we gotta see some guys fight.
Yeah. May left us with a lot of unanswered questions.
It did. There was more questions than answers by the end of May.
Yeah. May was our temperature check. We wanted to see how things are. And now we want to see how they're going to be.
Yeah. And so we got plenty to say about all of these guys in relation to July specifically. So let's just jump right in. So we got our top guy, Terunofuji, the only Yokozuna. We're sort of waiting for when the Yokozuna is gone. Not like wanting it to happen, but just we're waiting for that rug to be pulled out. It has to happen eventually. So he did show up for only 2 matches in May. And now we're playing the game. Will he show up? Won't he show up? The Yokozuna Council said, you better show up. And then they changed their mind like 2 weeks later. And they're like, actually, you can take your time.
Do it by the end of the year. You can go at any point.
Yeah, it's like whatever you're feeling. It's like, okay, so because of that, we have no clue what's going on. You know, the only information we really have is anything that Chris Sumo says. And there was a little bit of talk about how he's seriously training, but that means nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, this is the song and dance, is that you can't. It doesn't seem like you can just say, "Oh, nope, not happening." You have to do training. Yeah, particularly this basho, they do. There's like a lot of like this a community training thing. It's a lot of like,
yeah, that's true.
You can go up to them and watch them train because they're all out in their separate camps.
Right, they're doing that
Nagoya.
Outdoor like summer camp thing.
There's like a culture of you all get to watch.
So you better be training.
So yeah, well that's the thing. So he's gonna be doing something, whether or not he's gonna perform. In the will he won't he, it seems pretty safe that he won't because there's no real pressure. And
there's no reason to show up to the slippery basho.
No, there's not.
Not with bad knees and bad back and bad ribs and whatever else is going on with him.
Yeah, I'm thinking September or November he's gonna pull himself up, and because he still wants that 10. Right.
This is the thing that he's still going for. He'd be done by now if not for that, and maybe just a little bit of the people saying, "We need a Yokozuna, please." Just for a note for all of you, we're recording this kind of early, so by the time you might hear this, who knows? Maybe Terunofuji will have given us a decision, but this is where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
No clue what's going on. So now we will move on to somebody who is most certainly going to come unless there's some surprise. Kotosho. He is now the top Ozeki. Ozeki 1 East. This would be career top, right?
Yes.
He's never been a 1 East before. 11-4. A 1 win away from the Yusho. And yet, it didn't feel like he was 1 win away from the Yusho.
It ended up being 1 win away, and that's sort of like you'll have the people,
math.
And you'll have the trail group that sort of keep pace, and it ended up being that either him or Hoshoryu would be one off, and it ended up being him.
So you can take that one of 2 ways. You could take it as he was 1 win away from the Yusho, or you could take it as he was 1 way away from the Yusho. Like, he's still got a lot to prove.
Yeah, both him and Hoshoryu they have a different spin on it, but they're both in that they can, but they're just not there yet when it comes to getting the Yokozuna.
Right. You have to be able to beat every single guy like it's nothing. You've got to have that much skill. And while both of them can beat any guy, they can't always beat that guy.
They can't do it in 15 days all at once.
Exactly. So I don't know what it's going to take for them to kind of put that together.
Yeah. I think they both have that one thing they're working on.
Mm-hmm.
For Kotosho, his success comes when he sticks to his brand. And any time that he's nervous or he's sort of pulled out of his own game, that's where the cracks formed. Like when he fought Onosato, like he was doing that weird coming forward, not quite in his thing, and Onosato was able to do the crazy throw thing. And so it's disrupting that rhythm. And so if he can get his rhythm as solid as his tree trunk legs,
mm-hmm.
I think that's what he needs.
And certainly, July is the crazy basho. You've got the stormy basho of March, but you have the slippery basho of July. Whoever's going to have the most solid footwork is going to win this.
Yeah, so he seems to be somebody who, he's top dog. He's got the momentum. Could be his to lose, but at the same time, it's not a confident pick.
No, I'm not there with him yet.
Not there with him yet. But it feels like this is as good as it's going to get for our runway until we see that thing.
Right. And here's really the big question. You can say this for Hoshoryu as well. At some point, Terunofuji's gone, and then Kotosakura is the top guy. If he somehow manages, him or Hoshoryu manage to put two Yusho together and become Yokozuna, their faults almost don't matter at that point. I mean, they do, but they don't, right? He can keep going, he could go 12-3 and it's like, oh, he's the Yokozuna. He could go 11-4, it's like not the best, but Yokozuna. But it's just getting there in the first place is just like climbing Mount Fuji.
It's the tallest wall.
It is. And, we'll see. We'll see if July is a start for him. Now, if we speak about Hoshoryu, whom, if you were at the Banzuke live stream, I've already called him as my pick.
Yep.
And we'll revisit this at the end, but July is Hoshoryu's basho. This is the one he won with his only one. And in that basho, he was very impressive because of his feet were glued to the ground where everybody else is flying out of the ring. He seemed to sort of double down. And that's what you need for July anyway. Last time around, 10-5, he had a couple of really hard losses. The Kotosakura one was...
So there is some... We've always said this about Hoshoryu. It's his oversight. He does seem to look past people. And so he's losing matches that he shouldn't be losing.
Yeah, it's a strange thing that you
could
could get burned by the same thing over and over again.
If he can keep that focus for all 15 days, like you said he did in July, it was honed.
Yes.
I think it's good. So what is interesting about these two Ozeki is that Kotosakura at the very, very top, I feel like that's his best opportunity. But for Hoshoryu to come off a loss and has to be stewing about it for 2 months... I think that's the best Hoshoryu.
Yeah.
Cause if you have Hoshoryu all the way up top, feeling he's got nothing to prove.
Hey, why don't you click on last July last May and see if he had one of those records and then he won in July. It's you want to work, computer.
Mm-hmm. So he was 11-4 at Sekiwake.
Okay, and then he got promoted to Ozeki?
And then he got the Yusho in July, and that's what got him to Ozeki in September.
Okay, so that's a whole other thing. He was trying to be Ozeki, so...
Yeah, so he had the 10-5. So this is also he had the 10-5, he had the 11-4. So he was on the back foot because he only had 21 wins.
Ah, okay.
And so he needed 12.
And that was the incentive to just stay super focused.
And so that for him it was... You can't lose anything.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So now he's got to just be motivated by the desire to win.
Beats Hakuoho on the last day, too. That was a fight. That was a year ago also. Wow.
I know. How much things have changed in a year.
Woof.
So, I'm banking on Hoshoryu being extra fired up and being extra glued to the ground. But Kotosakura is one of the sturdiest when it comes to this.
I think they're both in a good position to make a run for it. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I hope one of them does.
We should.
I hope we don't have some Takakeisho wins the whole thing. Though it would be cool if he did.
Takakeisho specifically. I'm all for
him
that.
Specifically.
If he wins it, we're clipping this.
Yeah. Make it a short. Okay, so now we have Takakeisho. And every time we get to Takakeisho, it's pretty much like talking about Terunofuji. He showed up for 2 days as well. It was pretty obvious he shouldn't be there. We didn't even think he was going to show up to the tournament. He was basically crippled at that point. So now we're back to Kataban. And basically what we believe the best we will see from him is just him getting through all 15 days and getting a Kachikoshi. That's the positive side. Now, we will get to him, but who should be next to him now is Kirishima, and that didn't work out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Takakeisho has been sort of the magical man of Kadoban, where he just pulls it out every single time by the skin of his teeth. But you're always wondering, like, is this the time?
Is this the last time?
Yeah. So, I don't want to speculate. I want to think positively. My gut is like burning with horror. But hey, he had his wedding ceremony and the pictures were cool.
It was
and
very nice.
Maybe that gives him a little extra something. I don't know.
I think there's still one cup left in him.
There's been some others who've said that as well.
I don't like only one. Mm-hmm. Only one. I don't know where it is. I don't know if he can find it.
Mm-hmm.
I am more confident about Takakeisho's cup than Terunofuji's. I'll say that.
Yeah. Definitely Takakeisho's got, he's got age on his side, so like he can still heal
a little bit.
Yeah, I mean he's running out of body parts, but Terunofuji's at a point where between age and the diabetes makes it really hard to heal from injury. Especially it sounds like he has some bad diabetes. So yeah, Takakeisho could possibly heal. He could gut another one out.
Realistically, it's an 8 and 7 and a nail biter, and possibly worse. But I'm going to say 8 and 7. But it's just like, but there is that chance, that weird chance that things just start clicking and everybody's slipping around and he's staying solid.
It's so tough because if his neck wasn't so messed up, I think he could overcome some of the other things.
He would have been a Yokozuna.
Yeah. The neck is impossible for, pusher thruster goes in head first. So, I don't know. According to him, his neck is better, but I don't know what that means. That's just kind of like...
Bold talk.
Yeah.
Bold talk. It's odd.
Yeah, And he's like, I'm not worried about it. I'm doing my best. Okay. My brand is sumo. I'm better.
Yeah, I think he's... What is kind of nice that it does seem he's turned a mental corner. Yeah. That he's just like, okay, probably not Yokozuna, but I can still do this Ozeki thing.
Right.
I've got time doing that.
And, the truth is, you got to admire a guy who just, doesn't say much, goes in, does his job.
Gets it in there.
And never stops. So, he's still the guy. Just hope he's going to get that 8 and 7.
8 and 7, so that's the baseline.
That's the baseline. That's all I'm hoping for. So now we can get into, finally some non-stable positions. Abi, Sekiwake 1 East, up from Sekiwake 1 West, 10 and 5. So technically, he's at the start of an Ozeki run. He was really great in May. Just kind of surprising how sturdy he was, how there wasn't any Abi B, no Hankas. I don't remember seeing any of those. Now he's Sekiwake though. Can he do Sekiwake 1 East where he's at the top, pushing on the ceiling, and it gets more pressure, more stress of like, I have to do this just to stay where I'm at versus I have somewhere higher to reach.
Yeah. The flip side is that 10 and 5 was with 2 Fusen shows, and also he's gonna even if he just gets another 10 and 5, that's not as... It's not going to help you.
No, it's a hold.
But the flip side of that is, this is like you had mentioned, there's no Abi B. This is the best form of Abi we've seen. He has surpassed his pre-wrist slap suspension version of himself. Mm-hmm. So, looks that way. Still forming. He's a 6 and 9 away from making me eat my words here. But it looks like for people... fans of Abi like me and a few other people.
Me?
Yeah.
I told you, I'm putting Abi way up in my top list.
We were looking for that. Has he finally started to figure things out, which was always his problem. And we're starting to see the beginning of that. And July could either be him saying, oops, never mind, it's still too difficult. It could be him getting another 9 and 6, 10 and 5, stuck in the Wakamoto Haru Daieisho special of being in Sekiwake hell. It's or something happens.
Well, to some degree, something is happening. And I think this is something that I had not been aware of until recently. So his stable master was not well for a long time. So this, affects you mentally, but it also affects your training. It had to affected him. He wants to be great like his stable master to honor him. but what kind of training is he getting? Like, what's the tension like, et cetera, et cetera. And now, unfortunately, he's passed away, and now they have, they're in a new situation with a new stable master. Did you see the Sumo Primetime video with it? I actually then went and subscribed to their channel. It's pretty cool. This is an opportunity for Abi maybe to really double down and focus. It's obvious that he really, really, really is trying to carry the torch for a stable master. He definitely thought of him as like a father or an uncle or just somebody super, super important. So maybe he does have the ability to do this. Maybe he can dig deeper. Maybe he can get focused and stable now that things are, unfortunately in a place where he has to move forward.
Yes.
So we always talk about those life things. The
X factors.
Those X factors that not everyone else is dealing with. So there's a chance. We'll see.
So to your point, so we've got the 6 and 9. We've got the Wakamoto Hara hold. My pick during the Banzuke stream was on Abi to win it. So I am in team he's figured it out. And I'm hoping I'm putting my bet on this one. So
you won last time.
That's nothing. I'm not thinking about it. I'm like Onosato. I'm just like, it's already behind me. I'm thinking of the next tournament.
That's very, very sumo of you to do that.
I can't.
It matters nothing.
Doesn't matter what happened in May.
Yeah, so you're definitely rooting for him.
I'm rooting for him. I'm thinking this is something.
The new Abi. Well, let's hope he doesn't slip. I'm just gonna put that in there. Okay, speaking of Onosato, your guy, who is now the defending champion, 12-3. He looked amazing. He had a couple little blips here and there.
Mortal, but
like for the most part, it's like you are hitting a wall when you're facing this guy.
Yes.
Like you got to do some pretty fancy stuff. It will be interesting to see Takakeisho fight him if Takakeisho stays all 15 days. Yeah, because Onosato, like, he really was like manhandling guys. So you have to do something like pull an arm or, do an Ura, maybe like triple leg. But even then, he's pretty solid. The truth is he looked better than everybody else. Like these Ozekis we currently have. If he continues on in that same manner, he's just going to crush this whole thing. Forget the Ozeki, and he'll be there in a couple tournaments, and you can just say goodbye. You're all going to be crying little tears.
Yeah,
and then he'll just leapfrog to Yokozuna.
This is what's so weird about Onosato, and this was the same energy that was coming out of Hakuoho and Takerufuji.
Two injured fellows. He's not injured. Right. If he stays healthy.
Yeah. It's hilarious because when he came up, you had, here's this new hotness guy. You're just like, okay, yeah, whatever. Hakuoho fell down. We've heard this before, so we didn't give him anything. And then he comes up, and then he does so well. And then the next tournament, Takerufuji shows up.
And you forget about him again.
And you forget about Onosato again. And you're just like, oh, yeah, sure, he was 12-3, but look at this guy. He was 14-1.
On a busted ankle.
On a busted ankle. You look at him again. And then in May, it's just Onosato. And he's only getting better. And now you're looking around, you're like, wait.
There's nobody near him.
He is on a different level than everyone else.
Yeah, like, you look at him, the Onosato we saw in May. If he continued on like that, that's the kind of guy who's a Yokozuna. Who can beat anybody he needs to beat. You feel that when you see him, and you don't feel that when you see Hoshoryu or Kotosho.
No, we're like, okay, what do you need to fix? How do you get there? And then you look at Onosato, it's just like...
He's there.
It's just like, how do you stop him? You're thinking the other way around. You go to Kotosho, you're just like, how are you going to deal with this guy, man? You want to be Yokozuna? Look at Onosato.
Well, and you have to give credit to... I'm sorry, because I keep forgetting. He's Nishonoseki now.
Right?
I think you got to give a lot of credit to him because I guarantee, A, he knows how to win, but B, he's super focused on injuries because an injury ended his career.
Yes.
And there really are things that you can do. I think, I've been really processing this lately. But now being in a karate dojo and then absorbing everything around, I actually think people do neglect certain stretches, certain training, and that's why they're getting hurt. You can say we train all the time, but you're not doing all the training. You're doing all the training to win a match, but not all the training to keep yourself from getting injured. That really might be what it is.
I think my elementary school coach said to me, this is like 30-year-old memory. He's just like, it's not practice makes perfect. It's perfect practice makes perfect.
Right.
And so there's a larger discussion. I think Goose is going to do this, so I'm going to not try to steal the thunder. But like it boils down all these injuries. It's a training issue.
It is.
Not knowing anything about it.
It's making sense. Like the guys of old, because there's a lot of new thoughts on training, right?
Yep.
Let's do the weightlifting. Let's, do certain cardio that maybe wasn't in the traditional sumo thing. But sumo's a very specific type of fighting. And those stretches are super, super important. And just look at Hakuoho. He went all those years as Yokozuna because he loved to make sure.
He stuck to the fundamentals. He understood that there was no getting around certain exercises for cores, and he dealt with all of it. Yeah. And I think there is some of that. There is the looking at sports medicine, looking at lifting weights, sort of the glamour of going to the gym and doing all this stuff, and then you forget the fundamentals. You get caught up in the glitz and glamour, and you forget to do the 1,000 shiko.
Well, look at Takeru Fuji.
Yeah.
So big up top, so small on the bottom. And now he gets an ankle. He's down in Juryo, and we don't even know if that is completely healed because there was still talk that it wasn't.
There's still talks about him not being 100%.
So, yeah, going back to Onosato, I just think that Nisho Ozeki probably has got him like, this is what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And don't mess with it or your career is done. And I know because I went through it. So coaching is everything.
On that note, and the next factor for this tournament, though, I don't know if it's going to affect much. So Nishonoseki Oyakata also worked with Yoshikaze, who I forget his coach name.
Current name, yeah.
Yoshikaze split and took...
Is he starting his own?
He started.
Oh, okay.
He took a chunk of Nishonoseki's dudes that Yoshikaze scouted and left, and he started a new thing. And so some of Onosato's training partners, some of his, they're gone.
That's going to affect things.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
It's an X factor. Like we're talking about the X factor. So
yeah, even just the instability of like losing your group.
Yeah, and this was something that we were talking about with Kirishima.
Yes,
that
was going on.
Broke up, and that could have been something that was just messing with him on a mental level.
Right.
Like even if he's not stressed out about it, like that's something you're thinking about instead of the match.
Right. Any little thing that takes you away from what you need to do and you lose that match.
You lose it. So maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't, but these are all the pieces we're looking at.
Right.
Going into...
Because these are human beings.
Yes.
And human beings fail because of X factors or succeed because of X factors.
Mm-hmm.
So, since we brought him up, let's talk about Kirishima, who was Ozeki 2 West, and it fell apart, and he's now in Ozeki Wake, technically Sekiwake. I didn't expect it to happen. I didn't think it would happen to Kirishima.
It all fell apart on him. It does seem to be injury related.
Right.
And the problem is that these injuries seem to be sticking.
Right. They're not going away. This is what Takakeisho found out very early in Ozeki. Like, being an Ozeki means getting punished. And yeah, we don't know if these are chronic or not. The talk, what talk we hear and whether it's true or not, who knows, is that Kirishima is feeling much better, but that doesn't mean you are when you get in the ring. Even if you're feeling better in training, you really don't know until you're in that ring. Do you think he can get the 10 wins?
I think we'll know in the first 5 days. The opening salvo. Like if he's fighting well, the way he carries himself is winner. Like even if he like loses a close one, like if you look at him, he's like, oh, he was in it.
Yeah,
he'll get it. If he's doing that weird, nervous fighting, he's Kirabayama again.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so rough. I know you do the name change and nothing goes right after that.
Yeah, I'm doing it to him. He's not doing it.
Oh, I know. I know. This is a 42 opinions thing. So we're gonna have to see what happens. We really have a big question mark.
I for one want him back.
Definitely.
I think he's got it in him to rebound.
He's such a skilled guy.
He's such a and it's just like he still could go all the way.
Yeah.
If he rights the ship.
if those injuries can completely heal.
If he can get it out of him, yeah.
Yeah. He's going to need the injuries to heal, and he's going to need to sort of not be in desperation mode in every match.
A lot of ifs. That's the problem. A lot of ifs.
The truth of the matter is about this sport and every other sport, once injuries come in, what could have been no longer matters.
Mm-hmm.
So, it stinks that we're in this.
The potential's wasted. It's gone.
You know how I feel about that.
Yep.
So, now we'll go to Daieisho. Komusubi went east, up from Megashira went west with an 11-4. So, he's right back into Sanyaku.
Right back. He's just like, I don't belong outside of this.
How dare you?
Turn back the clock when Daieisho got into Sanyaku as a dark horse, and we're like, holy crap, it's good to see him here. We'll never see him again.
And now it's like, this is where he just has consistently been.
And now he's just sticking to this. He's just like, no, I am here, and I'm working to get higher.
This is my spot.
I love it.
Yeah. Now, whether or not he can ever crack the ceiling of Sanyaku and make it to Ozeki, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
But he's not going to give up.
He's not. It's great to watch.
And every single one of his fingers are broken, and he still fights. So.
Yep. It's him and Wakamoto Haru are these great career Sanyakus, and this is some of the underlayers of the excitement that we were missing when we had the lame duck phase.
Yeah.
That we're getting our way out of.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much out of the lame duck phase.
Almost out of it, yeah. So like we've got our Ozeki, we've got our upper layers, we've got a really tumultuous Megashira bit, but then like the Sanyaku thing was in flux. When Takayumi fell out of it, when Takanosho fell out of it, the main stage.
You're like, who's supposed to be up here?
Now we can look at them and be like, Daieisho, Wakamoto Haru. Wakamoto Haru, by the way, we're gonna get to him in a little bit, but he's not staying.
Yeah,
he's back up.
Yeah.
So like I'm super happy as a Daieisho fan to see him up there, and as a sumo fan to see that elite holding the line.
Right. You pretty much can count on Daieisho to be, if it's Maegashira 1, okay, but he's gonna go right back up in there.
Yeah.
So you can have your consistent Sanyaku. We'll have to see. I think July is a tough one for him. I think it's tough for pusher thrusters. But we'll see. Daieisho's footwork is pretty impeccable at this point.
There's a couple. He has like the momentary lapses.
Right. The type that got Kirishima to beat him twice and take a Yusho from him.
He can stand and deliver though.
Yeah, he's seasoned now.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the sort of new hotness, cautiously new hotness, because there's been some hype about him, but he's a smaller guy, so he doesn't get super hype. Hiraomi, Komusubi 1 West, up from Maegashira 2 East, 9-6. So it's a combination of him taking advantage, like just being the best he can be, as strong as he can be, and taking advantage of those who weren't having the best tournaments.
Yeah. If Atamifuji won that last match, Atamifuji would be in Komusubi, and Hiraomi would be Megashira 1.
And look at that.
It is such a microcosm of what sumo is.
Right.
That one fight changed so much.
That one fight that probably only lasted about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
10 seconds means the difference between, being in the elite class and being down with everybody else.
So good news. Hiraomi, Nishiki Kigi got a break like this too when he touched Sanyaku. And you got to be in there every day.
You do.
And
he earned this.
He earned this, but sometimes it doesn't help to be a little lucky.
Of course.
A little lucky.
Everybody's got to have things go their way.
Yeah. So,
but this is a debut for him.
Sanyaku curse.
Yes.
The Sanyaku curse has been disrespected a little lately.
Which is good to see.
Very good to see. I'm holding out just like a very small amount of hope, but not a lot of hope. So on one hand, the curse is real, and Hiraomi is not an Onosato. So
right,
I'm sort of expecting the trajectory of up and down and up and down. That being said, when he was at 2 East, so he's going to be basically fighting all the same people he got a 9-6 on.
Right. The only difference here is the top guys. So Kirishima, did they fight? He probably
Here's the thing. So he did fight Kirishima.
Okay,
he
so
did fight Kotosakura.
Okay.
He did fight Hoshoryu. He's the only one to fight Takakeisho.
Oh, so he fought everybody
here's
except
Abi,
for
here's
Terunofuji.
Onosato.
Okay.
So
I stand corrected.
This is my hope. Now, this is, again, the self-proclaimed Hiro to Umi fan saying...
Super fan.
Huffing the copium a little bit saying, hey, look, there's a chance. There's a chance that
There's
he
a
breaks the curse.
chance. I mean, like you said, he did fight all of these guys before.
But it's the pressure of the rank. It's the expectation.
And still, the slipperiness of the basho
Exactly.
matters. July, this matters more than anything. Because you'll see guys who don't lose matches. And you'll see guys who, who's that guy, do really, really great. So we don't know enough about Hiroumi yet to see.
This is a new level of pressure. This is a new level of sumo for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in July.
Right.
And it's in July.
Super hot, super slippery. Nobody wants to be suffering in the ring. They're like, let's get this match over in 2 seconds. So we'll see. But it looks good. We're not like in a doom here.
Not a doom. This is not a Tobizaru Hokuoho kind of a deal.
Even at Nishikigi, like you're like, I don't know, maybe
a little bit. It was like, no.
Yeah. Okay, so next we have Meisei, Maegashira 1 East, up from Maegashira 5 West, 10-5. So Meisei was looking real good.
He was looking like he wanted it back.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people were surprised by it because he'd almost been forgotten, like that he had that in him.
He kept hitting his ceiling, and then something in May felt like he blasted through it.
But then it's like, is this a one-off?
Yes, this is the problem. Can he do it again?
2 bashos is a pattern, right?
Yeah. So here's the good thing for him: 8-7, he's in.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And that should give him the drive to work even harder than he did in May.
Yeah. And he doesn't have to fight Hoshoryu.
Right.
Unless it's a tournament playoff. Hey, let's go. One day it'll happen for us.
I know, right? Be pretty cool. I'm waiting for that day where we get brothers or stablemates having to fight each other in a playoff. It'll probably be like 30 years from now.
Well, keep an eye on the Segahama stable, if we're going to be honest. But until then...
Yeah, so, I mean, Meisei, once again, it's not a doom situation. There's a little bit of a question of, we've never seen him be super consistent.
Yeah.
But anything's possible. You get enough hunger, you get enough drive, you get enough motivation. If he wants to go back to Sanyaku, it's within his grasp.
Yeah, he'll either find his rank of old or he'll find his ceiling again.
Well, perhaps like all the training he's doing with Hoshoryu, because I heard, once again through the grapevine, that they trained a lot between May and July. So, if you're out there in the hot camp, you're going to train with the same guys over and over again unless you do a little traveling. So we'll see. Maybe Hoshoryu is helping him to hone his skills.
Iron sharpens iron, as they say.
And Meisei, he definitely has the same type of attitude as Hoshoryu in terms of he wants it.
He wants it. There's a hunger.
Yeah. We could only hope that everybody... I mean, this next guy...
Oh, no.
I mean, I question the hunger for this next guy. Atamifuji, Maegashira 1 West, down from Maegashira 1 East, 7-8. So, day 15, just a killer for him.
It's rough. It does, but that is the
That's
Atamifuji problem. It's a story, like you said.
And the thing is... I can't even put it into words, but it's like he just doesn't seem to want it enough.
It's a mental battle.
It is a mental battle.
I feel like he's wrapped up, like he's overanalyzing, or he's just scared of it, or like the expectation put on him is too much. Because like you look at him fight. He's got a great body. He's got great technique. It's just like all the pieces are there, and it's
he's touched, towards the top.
Touched towards the top. He's in a Segahama stable. He's got Hakuoho. Like, he has everything he needs. Like, we talk about, like, how Tamawashi, like, he'll do that thing that, like, he has all of his stablemates fight him all at once, and that's how he keeps training because he doesn't have higher level partners. It's like Atamifuji, He's got
The
everything.
best.
He's the best of the best. He's in one of the best stables. He's got the body, the technique, the mind for it. So like it's just something is weighing him down.
Yeah, and it's possible that it's something physical, but it doesn't seem like it is.
No, like it is. It's like it is sort of a I don't know if I can. Like it is. It's either like it's a confidence thing or it's that old Asanoyama issue.
Yeah.
And that it's just like his heart's just not there, and he doesn't push himself when
and
he
he
needs
doesn't
to.
even realize how to put himself there. I mean, if you really think about it, being a human being is complicated, right?
Incredibly complicated.
You think that you really, really want something, and then you, like I can say for my own self, I guess I don't want it enough. I'm not willing to put in that extra step for whatever the reason is, and I can't figure out what would make me want to do the extra step. It's kind of, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
But I'm obviously not in his head, so.
Yeah. I mean, there is, I mean, this is just part of the human condition, so at least we can speak to this. But like you do, you will hit a point where you're digging with your shovel, and then you hit rock.
And you're like, I can't
and then,
get under it.
You know, and then this is sort of this becomes a desire. This becomes like who you are. Like some people be like, I hit rock. Oh, well, at least I got this far down.
Yeah, like look at my nice hole.
Yeah. Some people will keep digging until they break the shovel. You know, and then
some people will put their hand in and pull the rock out.
Pull the rock out. Some people will come back with a drill.
Yeah, right.
And it's a matter of who you are, what you're doing, how badly you want it. You know.
He could have like little brother syndrome in the sense of like he's in Isegahama with all these great guys.
This is sort of what I'm thinking, is that maybe there's like
I'm just not as good as them or something.
Could be some imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
A little bit like you look at Takeru Fuji, you look at there is the Yokozuna,
right?
And then in comes Hakuoho.
Right.
All this. So now he's looking around just like I can't hang with these guys.
Right. Maybe that's there.
We're speculating here, but like I can respect the struggle he's going through.
Yes, this is not like some guys who we feel like, Shodai. They don't want it enough because they don't seem to care. It's coming from a totally different place.
This is a different brand of ice cream.
Yeah, and we feel like at some point, hopefully he will overcome it. Where Shodai, he's just waiting. He's waiting for the moment he can get out of this.
Yes. Yeah, there is a future where Atamifuji's in Sanyaku, probably higher. It's just he needs to see it. Doesn't matter if I see it halfway across the world.
Yeah.
Through a monitor. Exactly.
Okay. So now we have Wakamoto Haru, Maegashira 2 East, down from Sekiwake 1 East, 4-8-3. So he had the toe injury. He definitely lost. I think it was to Kotosho because of that. He sort of collapsed a little bit.
Yeah.
But now, a toe is something that should heal in comparison to some of these other things. And now his brother is back.
Everything is going aces for Wakamoto Haru. He's low down on the Banzuke. He's got the brother momentum. And the last time this happened to him, he just jumped right back like it just rolled right off his back.
It really feels like the Waka brothers do sort of influence each other.
Uh-huh.
And you wonder, are the two of them just going to come in and clean house?
Well,
because they don't have to fight each other.
Also, the both of them are in a position where they're underranked.
Right.
So we look at Wakamoto Haru, double digits. Like he's going to do what Daieisho did, 11-4, back where he was, not breaking his foot. Wakatakakage, he may get a cup. He may get a cup out of this.
He might.
He might. That's up to see earlier discussions about these 5 individuals here.
Well, to some degree, yes, because when Wakatakakage was up, he was having the same issue as Kirishima, missing something.
Mm-hmm.
He had everything. Could have been Yokozuna if he fixed whatever that was. So yes, him fighting some of these top guys will be interesting, but also, is he fully healed? You would think so, considering he did win the Juryo show, right?
Yes, 14-1.
Yeah, so you would think everything's all right in Rain. But remember that Wakamoto Haru and Wakatakakage were training partners. I assume they're back to doing that with the same level of intensity. So, yeah, Wakamoto Haru might have a very, very good tournament.
I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to wreck.
Yeah, it will be very fun if he's back. Because he's Mr. Technique. I miss the cool techniques that we haven't seen in a while due to illness and injury and all these different problems he's run into. So I'm rooting for him, and I got a good feeling that he's going to do well. So, but I don't feel that way about Takayumi. Granted, okay, he gets this giant jump from Maegashira 7 West to 2 West on an 8 and 7 due to the insanity and poor performances of others.
There was a pile of Makakoshi between 1 and 5, and there was just nowhere for people to go.
But what was interesting was last tournament, he was looking good, and then he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He was like in the Yusho race, and we thought this was going to be the surprise. July is his Basho.
It is. 2 of his 3 Yusho came from July.
So if his knee is in good shape, he is definitely the guy who takes inspiration from things like that.
Yes.
Some guys, it's like, oh, really? Is it July? That's not Takayumi. Takayumi's like, this is my tournament. So if he is healthy, he can take the momentum from May that he had that was stifled by the injury and just go and win another cup.
Yeah. If the only thing keeping him from being in contention was that knee bang, he's gonna be a menace.
But he didn't have to deal with Onosato back in.
Yeah. He still has that momentum thing going.
He's got the momentum thing going, but he does have some extra hills to climb.
A little extra hills.
He's a little older, and the competition's a little stiffer.
Well, yeah.
Although I do miss. I miss Prime Takayumi and Prime Takakeisho going at it.
We're getting signs of Sekiwake Takayumi.
Yes.
We're getting parts of it, like a little flicker of Ozeki. But so we're going into July. It's very very interesting to see what Takayumi does. Are you gonna fizzle out? He would be in range to fight Takakeisho again.
Yeah.
Would be an interesting fight.
If they both were in good shape, that's a great fight. But this weird, I'm getting this weird feeling now that we're here in this Maegashira 2 area, like almost.
Yeah, well, both of those guys, and by the way, shout out to Megashira 2 for being a heated topic of discussion during our Gesta Banzuke.
They almost ruined the entire stream. People were
scandal.
screaming and ripping papers, and I thought we were going to have to shut the whole thing down. Maegashira 2, man.
This energy, there is something here for both of these guys.
Yeah.
You look at them, you're like, okay, if you keep your eyes off of either of them, you're going to regret it.
Yeah, I have a feeling that when July is over, we're going to have a surprise.
It's going to be a surprise.
There's going to be something really cool that happens.
That's going
to hype September.
Yep. It's going to start right here. It may not be them doing it. It may not be them getting the cup, but they're going to touch something.
Yeah.
And touch something that's going to cause everything else.
They're going to affect some.
They're going to be pushing that domino over. Just keep an eye out.
Yep. Okay, so Takayasu maintains the same rank. Very, very close to actually pulling off a Kachikoshi and being out.
I wanted it so badly.
A good portion of the tournament. But, he didn't get the Kachikoshi, but he did get to maintain his rank. That's still pretty impressive. He, we were talking about this last time. He looked great when he got to take a couple days off. I mean, he looked like the former Ozeki. Maybe this is something he should do.
Yeah, as a part-time Ozeki, those 7 wins were terrifying. Like 15 days of that Takayasu, it can almost be a Zensho Yusho.
I know. If you just harness that for 15 days.
I still think he should take weekends off.
I know, right? The weekends stay.
Think about it. Or, do like the sort of the midweek weekend. Like, who does things Wednesdays and Thursdays?
Yeah, exactly. Be like, you know what? I need a day off.
Take a few days off.
Could you imagine, though, if there was a guy that was like, yeah, I'm taking at least 1 week off in each tournament and then wins all the rest of their matches? Yeah. They would never allow such a thing.
Riots in the streets. But
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
we don't know what we're dealing with him ever because we don't know when an injury, because his thing is always the back flaring up.
Yes.
So we don't really know his condition ever. Neither does he. So I'm not going to speculate. If he's healthy, I think he'll do well. If he suddenly has a blip, then we'll get the usual roller coaster.
Yeah, he'll stagger apart. So he is one of 4 people in this Banzuke to get a Makakoshi and hold rank. That's how crazy
Wow.
this
Yeah, I'm
Banzuke
looking at it
was.
now. That's crazy.
And I will say, of the four of them, he's the one that earned it.
Yeah.
Everyone else, you look at them and you'll be like, you got a little help here and there. Even Ura. God
Well,
bless
Ura, he gets popularity points.
Yeah, you look at him and you'd be like, it was a 7 and 8. You're just like, but it's Ura. You look at Takayasu 7 and 8, and you're just like, he stays.
You know what's funny about that is they probably were like, if we're going to do it for one guy, we actually can do it for these other guys because of how this is screwy. So it can influence.
There's a little bit of that. Well, we'll talk about Roga in a minute, but for Takayasu, that's 7 and 8. I'm like, it was almost an 8 and 7 just on the effort.
It's
alone.
like, can't we promote him on a 7
I
and 8?
want.
That'd be amazing.
If ever there was a time,
it would be then.
it would be this Takayasu. But anyway,
Was not to be.
Yeah, this is also part of the uneasiness. Like, we're looking at Wakamoto Haru, we're like, okay, something's gonna happen. He's a little too low. We're looking at Takayuma, it looks like he's on a tear. Looking at Takayasu, he's like, if you're here for 15 days, and then we're looking up at the Ozeki, we're like, you guys are missing something.
Yeah.
This is the uneasiness.
Yeah, it's a shame that some of the things these lower guys have that the Ozeki don't have. Character qualities.
We need closure.
Can we just mix a couple guys together? Then we'd have the ultimate sumo wrestler. Take Takayasu and mix him with Onosato. Bam. Yokozuna for 30 years.
40 years.
Yeah. So anyway, now we have Gonoyama, Maegashira 3 West, down from 2 West, 6 and 9. Not as bad as it could be.
Not as bad as it would have been in other tournaments. I'll tell you what.
This tournament was very favorable to some people.
Some people
Most
got a break.
People. Yeah. So Gonoyama comes out as the new hotness. He's got a really strong tachi-ai, very interesting fighter. People are nervous around him. People want to fight him in practice. But he's becoming too predictable. He's becoming too, I don't want to say one-sided, because he does still grab the belt.
He's getting figured out.
Yeah, so he's got to find a way to kick it up a notch. I don't know what it is he needs to do, but
he needs to evolve. He needs to find a new angle, or he needs to push harder.
Right. There is a little bit of that, like, are you pushing hard enough? Are you kind of phoning it in when you shouldn't?
Yeah.
He doesn't have that hunger in his eyes.
Yeah. So some of this could be maybe little apples to oranges, but I know Kotosho, when he was coming up, like sort of the young prodigy, and then like he hit that wall and he hit it hard.
Quick.
And it seemed that Kotosho started struggling then and struggles to this day.
Yeah.
So there is sometimes like people will hit that adversity that hits them so hard
that they spend their whole career trying to overcome it.
So not way too early to say that at Gonoyama.
But definitely
that kind of a struggle could be something he's going through. That he's realizing that the stuff that got him to Maegashira 2, almost all the way up, and then something happens and all of a sudden it stopped working.
Yeah.
So he needs to evolve, or he needs to take advantage of a slippery tournament. And
he's the kind of guy who could.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we could have this weird thing where Gonoyama wins the July U show because people are slipping around. We also have to worry about injuries because of the slipping around.
Maybe.
So we gotta be cautious there.
Yeah, I think so for the next, definitely for this tournament, more for like the rest of 2024 for Gonoyama, the way my opinion is that like either he figures this out and then he turns the corner and he turns up the heat, or he's going to be in this weird quagmire. He's going to start drifting downwards.
Right, and he's going to wind up in like Takanosho territory.
A little bit, yeah. And then he's going to be then from there it's either going to be
how do you recover from that?
It's a tailspin.
Right, so you never get to be who you were going to be.
These next 6 months are going to be pretty important for evolving himself.
Agreed. It's funny because once you get to July, you're actually past the midpoint of the sumo season.
Yes.
So now you're entering into the latter part of the year where it really starts to count. Like you can have a rough January and a rough March, and if you come back in May, okay, you can salvage the year. If you have a rough July, now you're like peeking into the fall.
You've got 2 tournaments left to get it right.
Yeah. So there's some stuff on the line for Gonoyama, I think. Next, we have Tobizaru, Maegashira 4 East, down from Maegashira 3 West with the 6 and 9. Once again, not the worst. he had an opportunity to sort of be the new Tobizaru anyway, and win some of these matches and go towards Sanyaku, and he just, everything he did didn't work.
It did. Something felt off with him in May.
Like, first, I mean, he's always kind of flaily, but usually his flailingness has some sort of, method to the madness thing. This was just pure scramble. Even the Hankas he tried, everything he did, he was flying out into the second row again.
Yeah.
It's like he went back in a time machine.
Weird regression.
Yeah, and you have to wonder, like, what happened? Was it just an off tournament or something going on that we don't know about? The reason it matters is if it's just a bad tournament, you move on. He's not that far
rebound
down. So July is a big question mark for him.
Yeah.
Like, who is Tobizaru?
Yeah, he's starting. It's starting to, the wheels are starting to come off, and in July, like something needs to glue together.
Well, you think about Tobizaru is not the smallest guy, but he's on the smaller side of the wrestlers. Every time this happens, I think about Enho. And remember how good Enho was, like, beating all these guys, all these cool moves, and then he just at some point, enough was enough. He just kept getting beat down, figured out, injured, and then he never comes back. Is that the future for Tobizaru if he doesn't figure this out? I mean, you will get worn down and injured if you can't, like, go toe-to-toe with these guys.
He needs a game plan to get back to Sanyaku. And if he can't figure out that game plan, this is about as high as he's ever going to get.
Yep.
And he can be career Megashira. I think he can stay in the top division.
Yeah.
But if he's looking to evolve the craft, he's looking to get higher, then he needs a series of improvements, systematic.
Right. Like, tweak all these little things and, get them straight is like putting a puzzle together or something.
By the way, Enho, I think, is going to be fighting again.
Really? Is he finally coming back?
All the way in the boonies, but...
I think he only needs one more match to qualify for Elder Stack.
I think mathematically, he needs one more ranked as a salaried person.
Oh.
Or one more tournament. Yeah.
Great. That's brutal.
I think he's, like, down in Jonia, but...
Yeah, he's way
down. Yeah, he's in the sticks.
Poor Enho.
But anyway.
I was just trying to introduce people to Sumo, and I had to use videos of him. And I'm like, and you're not going to see him, unfortunately. It's like, oh, he's so cool. Yeah, you're not going to see him live.
Give him 2 years.
Yeah. Well, he'll never quit. Anyway, so now we have Ura, who's sort of the weird counterpart to Tobizaru.
Yeah.
They seem to, like, sort of go up and down together. And now they're matched together. Ura maintains the Megashare 4 West rank with a 7-8. He went 6-0 with an 0-8.
Such an Ura thing to do.
Such an Ura thing to do. I mean, that's almost like you could frame that.
Yeah, it is funny. We go from Tobizaru, hemming and hawing, very concerned, worrying about him. Go to Ura, no worries.
It's just Ura.
It's Ura. What
he
do you
can
want?
do whatever he wants.
Ura.
We're not worried.
If Ura ends up in Sanyaku, that's just even better. But.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one guy who gets a pass because nobody's looking at him like, okay, you need to work harder to become Ozeki. And no one's looking at him like, you didn't try hard enough. Like, it's just he fulfills his role. It is a unique role for him alone. And
the fascinating thing, like, he is actually getting better. He is.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
He's getting way better than he was a year ago.
He's putting the work in.
Yeah.
And, it's just like nobody's asking him to do it, and he's doing it anyway.
I wonder if he just gained a lot of confidence once, like, the success started coming, and he's like, well, maybe I should keep trying harder. Because he obviously loves sumo. For him, it isn't about all this other stuff. Like, I'm not saying the other guys don't love sumo, but there's always an ambition with the other guys. Yeah. Ura has never stated an ambition beyond the match that he's about to fight. And sort of like, he's like a painter of sumo. Because he doesn't prepare for the matches either. He gets in there and he's like, what do I feel like doing today? A little splash of twist my head and throw you over my shoulder? Or am I feeling, a leg pick? Or am I just going to go toe-to-toe? Just paints that sumo brush and whatever he's feeling. You know?
It feels almost accidental that he's getting better, even though that is not how that works.
Right.
That is him putting the extra hours in. But like in your mind, like just the way he is, you almost look at him. He's just like, well, while I'm training, I might as well try something.
Right. I'll give this a whirl.
Yeah, why not?
Hey, you know what? I tried that on day 7 and it worked. Yeah, that's Ura.
It's Ura. God bless you, Ura.
He will go down forever as one of the most well-known sumo wrestlers.
Also universally liked.
Yes, and if you go on Amazon US, he has the most merchandise available just by searching his name. It's amazing. So he must have like super fans all over the place. Because I could find nothing for other people who are way bigger than him. So Ura, we love you.
Ura worldwide.
Worldwide. Can you imagine though when he does retire, if he's like allowed to do interviews and stuff, he's gonna tell everybody everything.
He's gonna be unhinged. It's gonna be great.
Yes. I love you, Ura. Anyway, now we go to Onosato. Maegashira 5 East also maintains the same rank, 7 and 8. So this happens because I do think there was some precedence. There was just so many people they could do it with. They're like, yeah, we got our excuse to do it.
Yep.
He's got the same problem he always has. He's just so inconsistent.
Sure does. Like one thing gets better, another thing gets worse.
And I don't think July is good for him.
No.
He might surprise me, but this, of all the people, he's the one I expect an Onosato from.
He's around that rank. I think if he was Megashira 3, it'd be all but guaranteed.
Yeah.
Megashira 5, maybe he avoids
getting
an Onosato
2 and 13.
Yeah. I think he'll scrape a 5 and 10 from there.
Oh man, is that as ambitious as we can get?
It's also like he is hitting like a wrecking ball these days. This is what's interesting about him is that like he is hitting so hard that he's outblasting Gonoyama.
Yeah.
So he's working on it.
But that footwork is still a problem.
It is.
It's better in some cases.
Yeah.
But in other cases, like there you go, you see him flying up.
In a way, it's almost like a curse because they go to him and be like, you're going to get a second chance and you're going to do it at the worst possible place
the
in
worst
July.
tournament for you.
So Onosato has to make best of a bad situation in July for him.
Yeah, but you know what? If he does, then he'll get some super confidence.
He will look all the better for it.
Yes. I still, even though I'm going for Hoshoryu to win the Yusho, I really want to see some wacky stuff. That's what I expect in July.
It's inevitable at this point.
I want to see like Hoshoryu at the top and like Onosato second or something.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Next we have Shonan Umi, Maegashira 5 West, up from Maegashira 10 East with the 9 and 6. So that's a decent jump up. Multiple reasons for that one being the chaos, but also Yusho contender. This is an opportunity, because he came out hot and then all of a sudden just went into some weird twilight zone and now he's back. So hopefully this gives him the confidence he needs to start putting something together. But I'm trying to think if the slipperiness is good or bad for him, because he's very defensive and he pulls, so his feet would be pretty firmed up,
relatively sturdy. I think for him it's just wrapping his head around himself.
Yeah, it's all him and his stuff, his issues. But like, I guess he might potentially excel quite well in a situation where people are charging at him and he's countering them. And they start sliding all over, and he's just stuck there like a tree.
If nothing else, he would not be at risk in July.
Yeah.
And, so it is. If everybody else is slipping on the ice, if you can just stand up, you've got a leg up on everyone else. So.
It might be like that one Ichinojo tournament where Ichinojo literally slapped down every opponent.
Could be.
Maybe Shonan Umi pulls everybody down as they're flailing around the... Oh, man. That would be something.
We're due. We don't have Ichinojo to do it anymore.
Yeah, we're due for some wildness.
Ichinojo's in Hollywood or something like that nowadays.
Actually, he was on the USA Sumo channel.
Yeah.
Doing stuff.
Yeah, there's some US based sumo club that he's a part of now.
Well, I know that in California, and I think that's where this was, they have like the big tournament. So Ichinojo's just getting himself like right out of Japan and right over here, and do some English classes. He'll be in all the movies, and maybe we actually have a better shot at meeting him now than when he was a wrestler.
The best shot we've got so far.
Yeah, so, you never know in this life. Next, we have Takanosho, Maegashira 6 East, up from Maegashira 8 East with an 8 and 7. So, he takes what he needs from Atamifuji on day 15. I really thought he was going to lose that match. I really thought Atamifuji, was poised.
It felt like Atamifuji's to lose.
Right, and Takanosho has been just such a disappointment the last probably 2 years at this point. But he found something in him.
Yeah, it almost made more questions. You're
it did.
Hang on, you pulled that out.
So what's going on with you? Like, are you in the middle of some metamorphosis that we don't know?
Yeah, it's possible. I think he's still more of a fade than a spark, but it's things like this sometimes is what gets everything moving again.
I'm really hoping to be surprised by somebody. Somebody needs to do something, be inspired, and just go on a tear. Now, we've had those a couple times, like when Tamawashi won his Yusho the first time. That felt like it came out of nowhere.
It was out of nowhere.
We need Tokushoryu. Was Tokushoryu? No.
It was January.
Yeah. January.
January 2020.
Yeah. Even Tochinoshin just coming back the way he did. We are due for somebody to surprise us. Is it you, Takanosho?
Yeah. A veteran specifically, we will say, because Takeru Fuji is still wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're looking for the old guard to pull out some.
You
new
never
tricks.
know with these youngins what's going to happen. That's a different type of surprise.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Takakeisho's back. I do think to some degree Takakeisho's injuries have hurt Takanosho because that they were the training partners. So if Takakeisho's healthy, it helps Takanosho to train. I don't know who he trains with. There's barely anybody in that stable because people keep getting knocked out for scandals and stuff. So we'll see. Maybe all is right in rain. Next, we have somebody who's not right in rain. Somebody who John has some bitter feelings about. Oho, Maegashira 6 West, down from Maegashira 4 East with the 6 and 9. So he's a skilled fella.
He's got the skills. He's got the body. He's got the pedigree.
He's got the sumo sense.
Yeah, he's the uncut gem. And the thing is that now he's up this high. Typically
speaking, this is where he's going to get slammed down again. He has not shown us yet any level of consistency.
No.
So he can show you a brilliant match, especially if it's against Hoshoryu. And then the very next match just fall apart.
Yep. If he can contain that chaos, and we've been saying this for years, so whatever.
He's still young though.
He is still young, and he is 6 West, so he is figuring something out, or like stumbling upwards randomly.
Got lucky.
Yeah.
What's interesting though, we do mean in general veterans, but if Oho were to surprise me, I would take that.
It'd be fine.
It's like, please, like it'd be great if 5 years from now Oho is up there, Ozeki or Yokozuna, and we're looking back. Remember how rough of a start he had?
Imagine he wins the cup.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, this is everything. He's like, it finally all clicked, Then he sees the code.
Right. And, like the scales dropped from his eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, I know.
He looks around. He's like, it finally all makes sense.
All I had to do was just stare into Hoshoryu's eyes just one more time.
One more time.
Yeah. I would love a surprise from Oho. Please. Okay. And I would say the same thing about the next guy, Kotosho. When he came in, there was this feeling of this guy's going to be great, and it almost immediately fell apart.
I may be putting a hex on him by doing this, but
okay, let's see.
But look at his year so far. 9 and 6, 8 and 7, 8 and 7, coming back from a Juryo Yusho.
That's true. This year is looking.
The thing is that it's so understated because he's 8 and 7, he's 9 and 6.
He's crawling.
He still has these losses that you're like, oh man. But now I'm back in his corner because now he's Mr. Violence.
I was gonna say he's got that brawler thing in him.
You know, it's the Yoshikaze, it's the Yutakayama, Chiyonokuni. They're all gone.
Right, we need a new bruiser.
And so Kotosho is now the berserker in charge.
And he needs to take control.
Well, that's like this is something I noticed in the last tournament. It's just like in those drag out fights, that is where he shines.
Right. He needs to be provoked.
The longer the match goes, the better his chances of winning, it feels like.
You know, it's interesting because there's something to that. He could just be a slow starter. He might need a few, and that's something he has to work on then. He may need a little bit of time in a match to get his mojo going.
Yeah.
That is some people.
Yeah. And then, him and Meisei are now like one of my favorites because Meisei is just like, oh, we doing this?
Oh, we're going to get violent? Great.
Yes. In he goes.
And I miss this. I feel bad, but I don't. I miss the violent days of Yoshikaze and Shohozan.
Uh-huh. Oh,
you know, the just brutal, like, am I watching a sumo match or am I watching a boxing match?
Takakeisho in there, the old guy.
Yeah.
They were like, one of us is going to die in this ring.
Hokuto Fuji when he was at full strength. Yeah. Even when Takakeisho came up as the young guy, long before it was like, oh, he's going to be Ozeki. Him and Yoshikaze would get into some violent fights.
Get it.
We do not have that anymore. We have the small guys. We have the skill. Cool. Yeah. I like it.
This is part of sumo takes all types.
That's right.
We don't want...
all the guys doing that.
We do, but we don't.
Yeah.
I had to think about that for a second. I was just like, oh man.
If everybody was fighting that.
If everybody was a knockout brawl and they ran out of salt because they had to keep throwing out in the blood.
It'd be like we're watching UFC instead.
Oh, it's like probably long term, probably not good.
No.
But if that happened for one day, everybody got together and said we're slugging.
Yeah, today is slug day.
Today's slugfest.
We'll see who actually comes out. It's like going through the gauntlet.
I think I would be really scared watching it.
Yeah.
But then when everybody when nobody died afterwards, I'd go back and I'd watch it again.
This was the best day ever. In the moment it would be terrifying.
So anyway, what we're saying is
we need you, Kotosho. Yes,
we're just a little bit of barbaric violence in our dignified Shinto rituals.
Yes, I mean, this is part of the sport.
Yes.
I mean, come on. We need it.
Yeah.
And Meisei's the only other guy I think that would go like that with him.
And to your point, if he can hone this, if he can make that, I need 3 seconds to make the match well into 2 seconds.
But see, that too, there's two ways, right? Reduce the time you need before you're adjusted, or find a way to draw your opponent into a longer match.
Yeah, drag them into the waters.
If you do that to every single opponent, you are going to take something off of them.
Gotta take it off.
So, I mean, this could be a brilliant strategy for him if he just...
Yeah, and then this sort of turns into, the Tamawashi. It's like, you go to Tamawashi, you're just like, I'm going to take a slugging. I can beat him.
But I'm going to get beat up.
And so then you're like, okay, how much of this do I really want off of me?
Right, right.
Then that becomes... and Kotosho was 15 years younger.
Exactly. Tamawashi's going to be like, I'm too old for this. I'm done.
Anyway.
Yeah, we're getting all these pullers now. That's the new trend.
Yeah, there's a lot of pulling. It's fine.
It's fine, but we really need a few more Kotoshohos out there.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Kotoshoho. I hope you are finding your way.
I have high hopes for this tournament for him. Please replace all those we miss. Sada no Umi, Maegashira 7 West, up from Maegashira 11 East, 9-6. Surprising. You never know what you're going to get out of Sada no Umi.
I love seeing him do well.
You think okay, the veteran thing is finally caught up to him, and then he's like, I'm going to do a 9-6. And you're like, okay. I can't predict this sport. So it's good. He's on the upswing. Might be due for a bad tournament.
That 7 is about as high as you can get.
Yeah.
But without getting into some real trouble.
But it could work. I think July could work to his advantage if other people are slipping around. He's a solid guy. He knows how to move. He's done this countless more times than everybody else.
A lot of people on this Banzuke have nerves. Sada no Umi doesn't.
No, he's the calmest dude out there.
He's I know what I'm doing. I'm here to fight.
So he could take advantage of the slippery basho. And let's hope he does, because then it'll be all the more interesting. Next, we have Ryuden Maegashira 8 East, up from Maegashira 14 East, 10-5. strong.
It was somewhat of a relief
Because he was having the weird
tipping
thing
down. He was fading a little bit. So like the reunion that had that upsurgence that got up to Megashira 3-2, like that was the kind of performance he had in May. And so like looking back at it, you're like, okay, it was pretty expected. He was way down there.
He should do this.
He did do that. So you're like, okay, like in hindsight, this is what he should have done. Still a bit of a relief if you're somebody who didn't want to see him go and he was pretty close.
Yeah.
Now he's back to moving towards where he was before when he hit that ceiling pretty hard.
So even if he were to have another bad tournament, which I'm not necessarily expecting.
I'm not.
It seems like this is like the upward trajectory. So
yeah, he
might do.
I feel like this is about where his skill level is.
Right. So he should have a good tournament.
So he should be pretty good, but it should be like a little bit more active for him. Not just manhandling people and just winning.
Right, because he's like
more interesting sumo out of him. To see him dig a little deeper, to see him figure things out.
Have to try really hard.
Bear claws grab belts.
I know, right? Those massive hands.
Huge hands.
So, he's headed in the right direction. He doesn't need much to go where he needs to go. Just an 8 and 7. And, depending on what these other guys do, he could go any number of spots.
Way up or way down, or maybe it's a little bit.
Yeah, so question mark over him, but it seems like it's pretty good. Next we have Kim Bozan. Interesting, the whole story. NM thing. So now I don't know. I'm calling him Kin Bozan.
And this is the Sumo Association's formal website, and it's Kin Bozan with the letter N.
But when you actually look at Abema, I think they do Kim Bozan. So that's kind of official too.
They're both. It's
not as official as this, but when you're translating a name,
Also, I feel like if it was 100% should have been Kim Bozan, like the Japan Sumo Association would just call up Abema and be like, "Can you fix that typo, please?"
I think they're allowing for okay, it really could be either.
It could be either way. I don't know.
I mean, think about it. You're translating a language, so the reality is it doesn't exist in this form. Period. Yeah. This is not its true form.
He's
so
a man
you can do
with
what
two
you
names.
want. Exactly. So Kin or Kim, whichever. Megashira 8 West, up from 10 West, 8 and 7. So he's slowly
a little bit. So yeah, he hit a ceiling. He struggled a little bit. He got injured. He rallied back, and so now he's bobbing up and down,
having some good matches, having some tough matches.
So for him, something like July is a complete question mark.
Yeah.
How is he going to handle?
It could go really, really bad for him.
Yeah, he's got his own chaos going on. He's got his own struggles, his own spin, and then you add the spin of July on top of that, and you're just either the spins match and maybe he goes on a crazy thing, or it's sort of like if you bump two tops against each other, and spin in the opposite directions, and then you just
and they're flying all over the place.
The room.
Yeah. I have a bad feeling that might happen to Kim Bozan, but we'll see. This is all speculation with literally no real facts to make you think anything.
Right now, it is all just spinning things, and we don't know.
Spinning circles all over the ring.
Kim Bozan is just twirling.
Yep.
He's twirling. Where's he going to land?
He's got his ballet shoes on.
Got it. He does actually do well at the edge, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah. So, we'll see. Then we have Oshoma. Mr. Surprise Man for you and I, maybe not for others. Megashira 9 East, up from Megashira 14 West with a 10 and 5. So he really just came in like he belonged here and that he could dominate. And it surprised me because I knew he was good, but I didn't know he was that good. So now it really is a big question mark because we always say 2 tournaments is a pattern. 2 tournaments,
yeah. So we were just mentioning about how with Onosato, we'd all overlooked him because there was so much noise going around. So now I'm looking at Oshoma, and I'm like, okay.
Same kind of deal. We're so focused on this other wrestlers.
So I'm like, okay, we'll give him an eye. All right,
cautious side eye.
100% with you that you need that second tournament. You need the 2 tournaments, and that's how we can get a trend. So if he can get another 10 and 5, or even a 9 and 6 here.
Then we know.
A step up, you're like, okay, he's going places.
Right.
He's someone. And that sophomore slump is just as bad, though. So he's got to focus himself. He can't get distracted. He can't get the nerves.
There's been plenty of guys who came in hot in their first tournament, and the very next tournament
They cool off.
And they never get back to it. So like there's that, like you said, what is the term? Now I can't even think of it.
Spark and fade.
Yeah, no, not the spark and fade, like the beginner's luck. That's what I'm thinking.
A little bit. Yeah, maybe a bit of that.
There's always like potential for you just get so hyped that you're making your top division debut that helps. But then when you go through the grind and you're getting beat down for 15 days in the second tournament, sometimes you just don't bounce back.
Once it's not new anymore.
Exactly. It's not shiny. So, question mark for him, but we'll find out soon enough.
He's going to show us his sumo.
Next, we have Tamawashi, Maegashira 9 West, down from Maegashira 9 East with a 7 and 8. So, he's old man sumo. He will be 40 in November, so still 39. Yeah. But he won't give up. He's that stubborn old.
Never give up.
You know, he's sitting on his porch, his rocking chair.
Yep.
You crazy kids. He will not let the youngins just come in.
Yeah, so it was 2 years ago that he won that Yusho. The second one.
I was going to say the second one.
Second one. So, and that's what got him into Kamasubi.
Yep.
It's been a long 2 years since then.
It's been rough.
But like so we're kind of far away from that Tamawashi, but like this Tamawashi is still just as strong as ever.
He's more measured because I guarantee one of his biggest issues is probably stamina. You can come out in the first week of the tournament when you're 39 years old and, yeah, I got this. And then he's hurting way more than everybody else by the end of it. Maybe not everybody else, but, like, the stamina is just going to go down and down and down. But he's still, like, if he's calm and composed, which he is a very calm and composed fighter, he can still win the matches.
Still win it.
He doesn't need to have the energy necessarily until it gets to a certain point. And then it's like, okay, you're too high to do old man sumo.
Yeah, so not the Sanyaku that we used to know, but no less dangerous. And down here, than in the veteran zone,
probably clean up.
It's a sweet spot. It's a sweet spot.
It's going to, like, decapitate some people. And
interesting, yeah. Someone's going to lose a head.
Yeah, it might be Shodai.
Might be.
Who knows, though? Shodai seems to come out in the weirdest matches. So, Tamawashi, it's just a wait and see like every tournament. It doesn't seem like he plans to retire anytime soon. But at some point, he will be so old that you'll be like,
it'll finally hit him. Like, yeah,
I don't want. It's gonna be the moment that he gets up and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
It'll be that Okinomi fade. You're like, it's gone now.
Yeah, you never know when you're gonna see it. Could be July. It could be September. It could be 2 years from now.
Yeah, it could be another 2 years.
Yeah, you just don't know with this guy. So now we will speak about Mr. Weird Shodai. Maegashira 10 East, down from Maegashira 9 West with the 7-8. Part-time Shodai doesn't care.
Doesn't care, yeah.
You can see it in the sumo. Like, some days he's like, I'm going to try today. And other days he's like, whatever, I lost. So that will always be what we say. We can't really change much about him because he doesn't change.
He doesn't change. He's like the outdoor cat now.
He is like a cat.
You know, before it was the indoor cat, and he'd meow all the time, and he'd be climbing on the furniture, and you're always paying attention to him. And nowadays, like, he just goes outside, and he's just outside all day.
Yeah.
He's like, "What should I doing?" He's like, he's outside."
Exactly.
Yeah, he's being a cat outside.
Is he gonna come inside?
I don't know. It's up to him. Yeah. Door's open.
Yeah, he won't even cry. He'll just kind of.
Yeah, just come on in. Yeah, whatever. And then then he does come in. You're like, "Oh, hey, Shodai, how you doing?" You know, and then he runs around the carpet 3 times. He goes back outside.
Yeah.
Nice seeing you, Shodai.
Yeah.
Good to see you. I always like seeing Shodai.
Yeah. But it's like, don't get used to it because he's back outside.
Yeah, he's back outside again. You know how it is.
Yeah.
Let him do it. Like, sumo takes all types, and that does include weird former Ozeki who just seem to show up and have fun.
Yeah. If you can call that fun. Because sometimes he doesn't look like he's having fun.
Yeah, sometimes he's not.
Some days he's like, why did I come here today? You know? But you're right. Without Shodai, it's just not nearly as entertaining.
It's a weird out. You're looking at me like, what?
You're like, what is he doing?
Yeah. Imagine showing a reel of him fighting from this year and be like, he was an Ozeki. Why?
Yeah, so
why?
List of wrestlers that you would not show to somebody to say, hey, this is sumo. Shodai would never appear on that list.
Yeah. You should, yeah. Yeah, you go to Takakeisho and you show clips of him and you're just like, oh yeah, that guy was Ozeki. You can
Wow, look at him.
Yeah.
He's a fighter. Look at
he's
even
not
just his like before.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hair
Yeah.
and the mean face.
Yeah.
Show him short eye. You're like, this is sumo.
He just stood there.
You want me to watch? I'm not watching this.
We love Shodai here.
I'm really going to make a list, actually, when this is over, of the wrestlers you do show, because
Yeah.
I've been out there recruiting.
Yes.
People really are sort of off-putted by the whole, like, only wearing a mawashi thing.
That is something that sticks with people.
But what's funny is I don't even notice it anymore. I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess they're not wearing much
We
clothes.
only notice it when they change the colors.
Then all of a sudden it's like, what have you done?
Then it's a controversy.
Exactly. It's like, oh, well.
Bring back Takayasu's red. Bring back Takayasu's
So many
red.
people have abandoned the red. But anyway, so Shodai. That's all I can say.
Shodai being Shodai.
The outdoor cat. So next we have Midori Fuji, Maegashira 10 West. This pairing almost doesn't seem fair. Midori Fuji and Shodai have nothing in common.
It's such a weird pairing.
We usually are like, yeah, this pairing.
There's
No.
some theme, no theme.
No theme on this one. This was just like, this is a weird Banzuke. Let's just throw things in the air.
They had to figure something out.
I still want to look at the Guess the Banzuke and actually see what you got right and what you didn't. Cause
I didn't do that actually.
I'm dying to know because I
was-
don't remember
yeah.
what we did.
Yeah, I'd say look into it because I barely remember.
Yeah, I like the whole night was a blur. I was just messing
it was a fun
around.
blur.
It was very fun, but I was just messing around the whole time. So I'm gonna have to go and actually see, like, did we pick like Midori Fuji? I just gotta see. But anyway, 5 and 10. Stand and deliver Midori Fuji didn't work out for him.
He was straightforward, just meeting people, and kind of weird. Like, if this is either he feels like he's running out of options and he's in desperation mode,
Or it's the long game.
Yes, I am hoping it's the long game because Midori Fuji, like, he hits that ceiling at the top 5 and he can't get any higher.
No, because he's just too small.
So maybe this is him trying to work it, like, sort of like, like working it out on the floor.
Right. Like, okay, I'm going to take a tournament off, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I'm high enough that if this doesn't work, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
But when I go into the next tournament, I'm going to have to cut that Tsukashi my ass off, Like, I am curious, did Midori Fuji... We might not be able to figure this out now, but did Midori Fuji last longer in the top division than Enho? Enho came in, like, just, like, so fast and furious, and then he was gone before you know it. I think Midori Fuji might be outlasting him.
Actually, hang on a minute. I wonder if we can do this. A little bit down here. Here we go.
Oh, look at that.
I
I know.
need a minute.
Suck the energy right out of the
I should
room.
have seen it coming. All
Ay.
right. Juryo. Okay, Juryo. So, May 2019, he hits the scene. Until November 2020.
See, that's not that long. It
And
felt like he was
then-
there forever.
So he was when he was here for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
He was the hotness.
He was. Everybody wanted to see the Enho match.
It was like Ura.
Right.
It was
If
that, it was
Ura
that
didn't-
level of explosive popularity.
Yes. And once again, it didn't matter if he won
Yeah.
or lost the match.
Yeah, and then Midori Fuji has been
Guarantee he's
look
been
at
in
it, look
longer
at
than
that
that.
wall. So May 2022 to present, and then he was in there before,
And then
he had that
knocked-
hernia thing. So here, yeah. So he came in for a little bit here, and then got injured, and then it was sad. So long, he's been in here longer than Enho.
So my point in all of that is, when you are a small man, there's only so many things you can do.
Yep.
And so even to last as long as he has, in a decent spot, he's not down at the bottom. Means he's a pretty talented guy. It may not seem like it when you're looking at the records, but it's like, to hang in there being as small as he is, I think he's pretty close to Enho's size, actually.
Impressive on his own.
Yeah.
So
So if it's the long game, it's literally just trying to learn some things, throw some guys off for the next tournament.
Yep. So by that logic, it's a net positive. So
Right.
I think, but for July, it'd be nice to see a Kachikoshi. It'd be nice to see a Kataskashi. It'd be nice to see Midori Fuji reimposing himself.
Right. Not being the guy just waiting to get flicked out of the ring. So this is the tournament for you to do that.
Yeah, he's down pretty low. I think at 10, it's a fairly confident bet that he's going to do well.
He does have to fight guys like Asanoyama, though.
The bottom's weird.
And Wakatake Kage.
The bottom's weird this tournament.
Yeah, and Endo.
The bottom's weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have cautious optimism, but, like, the bottom doesn't really reflect a typical bottom. Anyway. Then we have Ichi Yamamoto, Maegashira 11 East, up from Maegashira 12 East with an 8 and 7. So he's sort of going up, which is good, but he's still Ichi Yamamoto.
You want to talk about a guy who has trouble with footing in July?
Yeah, he's in trouble in July.
Oh, no.
He is just he's gonna crash into Juryo. Mark my words.
I don't want to see it, but like he is.
He is Mr. Slippy-O.
He is. He needs Velcro on his feet.
He does. So unless he is very hyper aware of this and he's gonna be extra concerned about it, he is gonna have a rough tournament. I'm calling it now.
This is the trenches when it comes to him and getting his stuff on right.
He needed more than an 8 and 7.
He did. Well,
and this would have been, and May would have been the right tournament for it because he could have gotten a pretty high jump.
Mm-hmm.
It's now you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, well, that vacuum was in the 1 to 6, 1 to 7.
Yeah.
And then the bottom was pretty. First off, you have all the people crashing down from the top.
Right.
And then the lower area was pretty competitive.
It really was sort of the ceiling and the floor coming together and crunching a bunch of people.
Yeah. So there's a few people in the lower area that almost got a little bit more harshly treated.
Yeah.
Compared to the top, just because it was so weird.
Somebody was gonna have to pay the price for the weirdness.
Yes.
So best of luck, Ichi Yamamoto. We might be entertained by how this all goes. Maybe not. We'll see. Next we have Nishikigi, Maegashira 11 West, down from Maegashira 7 West with a 5 and 10. So, going from Komusubi to just down.
So, yeah, so we
might have hit
the 3 and 12 at Komusubi. You're like, okay, that's fine. And then the 5 and 10. Ugh.
This is a key basho for him because he's down low enough, and when you think about his skill level, if he's physically okay, he's going to clean house. I question if he's physically okay. And I don't mean injury. I mean, I think he might just be at that age.
He can at least hold his own, you'd think. So, yeah, this is he gets a Kachikoshi, and then even if it's an 8 and 7, it's okay, he's already there. If he gets another Makakoshi, he's on the list. He may be on the way out.
Right. He's been fighting a very long time at a high level.
Yeah.
Amazing that he's done what he's done.
It does. Well, it does. It'll hit some people. Some people have the fade, and then other people, they just
out of nowhere.
All of a sudden, the wind's knocked out of him, and it doesn't come back.
Right. And we don't know what the case is with him until we get through July. So, not worried about him with Slippy Otoshis. He's a pretty stable.
He's a rock.
Yeah, you're not gonna knock him around. So. Now we have one of the biggest question marks of the entire tournament, Asanoyama, Maegashira 12 East, down from Komusubi 1 East, 0-0-15. So close. He finally gets back into Sanyaku just to be injured and never get an opportunity to fight in Sanyaku.
So we're talking about people getting injured a lot and wondering if they need those fundamentals.
Asanoyama. He probably is overtraining in the wrong ways because he's in such a hurry.
Desperate.
He's I'm running out of time. I missed 2 years of sumo. And I can understand it. I can understand the mindset. But he's got multiple injured body parts now. And that's what happens. You hurt one area and then you try to overcompensate with the other. Well, now you have a new injury. And maybe he should have taken his time sooner than this. Maybe he should have pulled out one of these other tournaments. Maybe he needs to take 20 more minutes to stretch. I don't know. But he's got to stop the bleeding because he is now in a really precarious position.
I feel like he almost needs to sort of lower the scope a bit.
Yeah.
Like you can tell his eyes are dead set on Ozeki.
And he can't.
It's just get one tournament good, then get the next one good, then get the next one good. Just
don't look at the rank. Don't look at the record. Look at the man in front of you on the day that you're there.
His eyes are too high up.
Yeah. And it's understandable. He was an Ozeki. He didn't lose the rank for injury.
Yeah.
So
and like we're right there with him. We want him to be Ozeki again. We feel like that would be like what he deserves.
Yeah.
What he's earning, but then he just can't get out of his own way.
Right. He already had that problem before he lost the rank where he couldn't become Yokozuna because he couldn't get out of his own way. So, I mean, you're talking about a true miracle if this man can just change.
It's still, I'm not giving up on it, but you can't keep doing this to us.
But think about it. People really don't change.
They don't.
You see moments of change, but to change who you are, that is a miracle. That is the definition of a miracle on Earth.
Feels like that's what was happening, though. That's what we got so into it.
But those old habits come out.
It seems to be what's going on.
So we'll have to see. We're going to have to just put him on the caution list.
Just keep it together for one. Keep it together in July.
Get an 8 and 7.
Yeah,
if you do better than that, great.
Re-rack. Keep pushing upwards.
Yeah, that's all you can say. So next we have Chirana Omi, Maegashira 12 West, up from 13 West with an 8 and 7. So he's keeping it going,
Moving the other direction.
He had a bad tournament in March, right?
So he came in with in that group of people that was the underdog,
and he was the only one to succeed.
And then he got a Makakoshi every tournament ever since. And then in May he rights the ship with an 8 and 7.
So he might have discovered, some sort of.
Yeah. At least he's put a tourniquet on it.
Right. So he can try to go higher now.
So now we're looking at it is, he's got a buffer, so he's not going to fall in the Juryo. And
unless he has unless
it's an oh-no show.
Yeah.
And now he's got that 8 and 7 to sort of bolster him to get him back moving forward. So if he could sort of tack into the wind a bit and sort of keep that moving, maybe he can get something going. But
it's tough though because he's a new guy who's old, so he's 30.
Yeah.
He's older than some of the guys who've been around for a long time in the top division. Yeah. So he does have a little bit of a ticking time, but then at the same time, what are his goals? What are his aspirations? They're not to be Ozeki.
Yeah, for him, does seem to be still finding his footing.
Yeah, if he can just stay in the top division till he's done with sumo, that's all you need.
That looks like to be the best he can do for now. And
right, just get an 8 and 7.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I think he can do that.
I think he can. I think he's in a really good position to thrive, but he's not gonna do anything crazy.
No, he's not gonna surprise us. I don't think.
No.
If he does, I'll eat my hat.
I'll tell you what. Who's gonna be the crazy guy to go into the comments and say Chirana Umi's gonna win the U show? That's the long pick.
Yeah, that's the really long.
There's
pick.
no darker horse in this tournament.
Yeah, I can see a certain somebody picking him actually. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes for him. I want to be surprised in July, okay?
He's...
That would be like...
You want a surprise, there you go.
You have a heart attack. You're I'm so surprised I went into cardiac arrest.
But good news for Chirana Umi is that he always has fun sumo.
Yes.
So, interesting matches, even if he's not always winning them.
Right. At least she'll be entertained.
You got that.
Exactly. We just want to be entertained. Speaking of entertained, Hokuto Fuji, Maegashira 13 East, down from Maegashira 11 West, 7 and 8. We are long past the days where his regular spot was Maegashira 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And now he gets a little bit extra punishment. He doesn't get the hold like everybody else.
So 7 and 8, a lot of people got a hold. 7 and 8, they give him 2. They over-demote him.
Now that's a sign of something, isn't it?
That's a sign of them
they chose him versus somebody else.
That's a sign of them kicking him in the butt saying, get it moving.
Yeah. Now, he's injured to all.
Yeah, he is.
I mean,
Yeah, he's the thing is that like he has to work out his plan B.
Yeah, whatever that's gonna be.
And like he was working on it, but like clearly this was like the long R&D project.
Well, you want to talk about somebody who's cracked his head a bunch of times.
Yeah, yeah.
You fight like Hokuto Fuji for years and years and years and years. I mean, it's amazing he's still going. He's like Ikioi, you know?
Yeah, I mean, his legs are shortening out, so he's losing definition, he's losing muscle. It could be just...
It's just getting too hard.
It's just getting too hard for him, and now he's falling apart. And
he's... How old is he?
How old is he?
I feel like he's still got a little...
Not as old, I didn't think. Come on. But
yeah, I think he's on the younger side.
92. So he's 32 years old.
Okay, he's actually a little bit older than I thought.
Yeah, well, he's... If 30 is the over-under, he's on the other side of that.
Right, but it's like he should have at least another 2 years.
Few more years in him. Yeah.
So he's going to struggle along and try to keep going.
At this rate, he's going to turn it out in Juryo, unfortunately. But
yeah, it seems to be headed in that direction, unfortunately.
Particularly with the weird mess the bottom is. That's the real problem for Hokuto Fuji and a couple other people like Chura Naomi and Nishikigi, is that normally down here, you know, we're fresh out of Chiyomaru's.
Exactly. Like, none of these matches are going to be that easy.
Yeah, the Tsurugi show's gone.
I mean, even though we make fun of Shodai, and we should, Shodai's still a tougher match than some of the guys who used to be down at the bottom.
Huh?
Midori Fuji is a tougher match than some of the guys who used to be on the bottom.
Yeah.
This is a tougher bottom, so
it's a weird lower division buzzsaw hitting through this.
Yeah.
And it's also like, again, this all hits in July. So what happens in September, some of these people are dumped into Juryo. Some of these people are just pole vaulting up into the mid. And then so in September, we're going to look at the lower section of this and be like, that's what it should look like.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like July is like a tornado and everybody gets stuck in the suck zone.
This isn't going to help things.
Yeah, it's like we're just going to swirl you around and then dump you somewhere by September.
Yeah, 3 of these people had double-digit wins in Juryo.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay.
Yeah, so might not be good news for Hokuto Fuji.
Probably not.
You know.
He'll give it his all. God bless him.
We're both in the same boat as far as our favorite guys are in terrible shape, and we're just waiting for the moment that it's all over.
Every time he shows up in ISP, I'm picking Hokuto Fuji. I don't care who he's fighting.
This time I need to actually register for ISP.
Register. Yeah, it starts next. Yeah, it's the 14th, so the week of the 7th. Anybody who's interested in ISP needs to register.
Okay, I need to remember.
I'll send you a message.
Yes, remember that.
I'll send you 2 messages.
Send me, yes. Just actually keep sending messages like, did you do it?
Yep.
Like, not even just remember, did you do it? Force me to answer that question.
Yep.
Because I was very sad not being able to do ISP last time around. Anyway. So now we have Takeda Fuji, Magashira 13 West, up from 16 West with the 9 and 6. He didn't get as high of a jump as I thought he would, but that's still 3. He had a great May.
He looked awesome. He looked 5 years younger.
Yeah, he sure did. After a couple of like, I don't know, was it a 6-month span or a year span of like, oh boy, his career's over.
He looked like, well, when he faded down in Juryo, we were just like,
we'll never see him again.
We're just like, we're going to miss you, buddy. And then he comes back, we're like, hey! And then he starts thrashing people with that drive. Or just like, whoa!
Did you eat your Wheaties? I mean,
he ate his Hakuoho Wheaties.
That's what it was. God. Hakuoho brought in the special Olympian Wheaties, and he's like, here, try this. Yeah, so Takeda Fuji, it's kind of hard to make any predictions with him because if he maintains that same level of energy, once again, we have another veteran here, then he's going to do great down here.
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of the
weird reverse buzzsaw.
The weird reverse buzzsaw.
I feel at least moderately confident that he'll stick around.
Right. He shouldn't have too terrible of a tournament.
So,
because he's pretty solid on his feet.
Pretty sturdy. So, like, we'll get him in the top division in September, barring anything crazy. Right. And if he does another 9 and 6, then maybe he's hit his 5th win, and he's just going to run with it.
I mean, he has so many wins, it's amazing.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
So, we'll think positively right now.
Sanyaku Takeda Fuji. Too soon?
Too
soon.
That's too soon.
I'm gonna pull that one back.
You know, we gotta.
Buy a pack.
He's definitely gonna be motivated to be somewhere in the top division when Teruno Fuji does finally show up.
What's the best way to motivate Atamifuji? Lap him.
Oh, man. Could you imagine that?
I'm doing it right now.
Oh, Atamifuji. I wish you were listening to
I
this
need to
show.
settle down. Takafuji just need this on him.
Too much pressure.
I'm glad to see him back and so well. That's all.
Yes.
That's all I'll say.
You're just hyped.
I'm hyped up. I'm a hyped man.
So speaking of hype, we finally have Waka Takakage back. Up from Juryo 6 West with the 14-1 Yusho win. So when he did come back, he was not 100%. He did come back too soon.
A little too soon.
And now he's had to fight with the injury because he didn't drop out again. So the question is, what kind of physical shape is he in? You would think 14-1 Yusho in Juryo, he's back to normal. But it is Juryo.
Still
We've
Juryo,
seen plenty of guys win the Juryo Yusho and get smacked down in the very next tournament. Granted, they were career Juryo guys or, upper division guys who've been struggling. Waka Takakage is supposed to be the elite. He was an Ozeki. But you never know after an injury what kind of... Because he had an...
Ozeki?
Not Ozeki. I'm sorry.
Sekiwaka.
I was trying to say Sanyaku.
Sanyaku.
I had Ozeki in my head.
He was on the cusp.
He was on the cusp of going... I think he... Was he on an Ozeki run when he got injured?
He was either on one or off one.
Yeah, he was toying around with potentially becoming Ozeki when this whole thing fell apart. So, he should be the elite, but injuries...
Yeah. Well,
you just never know.
That's the thing. If this Waka Takakage is anything like the one who was racking up wins in Sekiwake, that's almost a guaranteed Yusho contender down here.
Right, because he should beat everybody down here, and then he'll get the top guys at the end.
Yeah. What's Shoda gonna do to him? What's Ichi Yamamoto gonna do to him? What's Chiyashoma gonna do to him?
On the flip side, if we have day one him and Shodai and he loses a Shodai, we're gonna be like, okay.
Yeah, well then we'll calm down. We'll be like, okay, he's coming back a little slower than we thought, but
he'll be okay.
But end of the year, we'll give him more time.
Right, we're gonna give him all sorts of allowances.
Yeah,
but there is a scenario in which he does come in and cleans house.
Cleans it
until he gets to the top guys, and then of course we have no idea. What kind of we need to? We don't even want to watch him fight these guys. We want to watch him fight the top guys to see what kind of shape he's in.
The same issue we had with Asanoyama.
Right, and we didn't get our opportunity to see Asanoyama do it.
He keeps getting injured.
And
I'm staring angrily at his picture right now.
We gotta hope that does not happen for Waka Takakage as well. So big question mark. But him and Asanoyama, the biggest question marks in the tournament. For
welcome back, at least.
Yes,
welcome
it is
back.
Good to see him back.
Yes.
How long has it been?
Been a minute.
It's definitely been a minute, but I'm losing track these days of how many tournaments these guys have been out of.
March 2023.
So, a little over a year.
A little over a year.
Way quicker than I thought it was going to be. But still, over a year.
Oh, man, this was it. Yeah. So it feels forever ago.
It does. You lose track of what these guys were doing. So now, we go to Endo. Maegashira 14 West, up from Juryo 3 East, 12-3. Didn't see that coming.
No.
I really thought Endo, the way he fell out of the top division, I thought, it's over for him.
I was nearly crying writing his eulogy.
Right. It's like, March. Another one.
I'm like, I was like, this is it. I didn't want to say goodbye to Endo, but there he goes.
And then he comes down and he just starts fighting like the Endo we know. Like it's no big deal.
Rex nearly gets the Yusho on the way back up.
And now he's back. But once again, this is where Endo has been in the top division. Just because he can beat up Juryo guys.
Yeah. I'm glad that you said it starting out with Waka Takakage, but this is sort of going to be the theme for all of these Juryo guys. Mm-hmm. That they're all coming up with really good records and with pedigree, but
it's Juryo.
It's Juryo. And it's the more these days, more than before, it feels like there's something about that Juryo Megashira gulf that's starting to widen.
Yeah, it's bigger than ever.
The tectonic shift is pulling those continents apart.
Right, it's we really are the elite up here in Makauchi, and you really are beneath us in Juryo.
Like during the lame duck period, like you'd have people coming up and down and in and out. You're sort of just like,
and what difference does it make?
It's like it almost felt like the only difference was just where they were on a piece of paper.
Right, it almost made Juryo part of the top division.
It felt like it's the salaried ranks.
Exactly.
Now we're looking at who was it?
Because anybody who's really, really good,
Mitoryu the Juryo comes up and then just gets slapped down.
Because anybody who's really good these days doesn't stay in Juryo for long.
They don't.
That's the new way of the world.
Yeah.
You get these hot shots. They're in Juryo 1-2 tournaments and they're out. That's why they call the golf is so wide. The really talented guys are just skipping over Juryo pretty much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we really don't know with a lot of these guys if their Juryo record really means much at all. Endo, big question mark.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I think a double-digit
it would be
wins,
great.
But I expected him to keep tumbling.
Right, and he didn't. He surprised us.
So he just hit Juryo and bounced off it.
Now, here's a man that did not happen for. I never thought we were going to see him back either. So I guess the lower ranks have surprised us a little bit.
2 for 2 for pleased to see you again.
Shoma. I didn't think we'd be speaking about him in the 42 again. He was Juryo 3 West. He's up to Maegashira 15 East with the 12-3. So the Wily Fox returns after spending quite a bit of time in Juryo.
It was like a year? Long enough that we sort of
forgot about him.
Well, he wasn't part of the 42. Come on, pretty please. There it is. Gotta beg a little bit with this math.
I know there's something weird going on today.
There. So September 2023. So he's almost a year that he's not been anywhere, and also like 8-7, 7-8, 9-6. So like something hit him special in May.
Yeah. And
he's just like, it's time.
I need to make my return. So we'll have to see if, the veteran trickster has got the same tricks. It will throw some guys off that haven't seen him in a while.
A little bit, yeah.
But for the most part, he's just a little bit older now, so those tricks have got to be precise.
Yeah. I'm looking at this as hey, good to see you again.
Yeah, maybe it'd be nice if you stayed a little while.
A little while, yeah. Come on, come in, have some tea.
Maybe put your coat next to the door.
Yeah, you put it out. You take your coat off. It's just warm in here. I know you gotta just go, but
Yeah, don't wear your coat in here because
I'll take your shoes off so you don't want to track mud. Yeah.
And then it might be like, oh, you said the wrong thing at dinner. Get out. Sorry, you tried, but you stink. Anyway, just joking about that, but it's good to see him back. We'll see if he can last. He's got to go through the gauntlet because, like we've been saying, Asanoyama doesn't belong down there unless he's super injured. Wakataka Kage, even Oshoma actually, not that far out of reach for some of these guys either. Maybe he's slightly out of reach, but fighting Oshoma would be tough for a lot of them too.
It'd be interesting.
So we will see Chiyoshoma, but either way, we get 15 days as long as you stay healthy. And then we have Roga. He gets a lot of luck in the Banzuke.
Let me talk to you about Roga's luck.
Please do.
Okay, so he's got to 7 and 8, and he holds his rank at 15 West, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at how he did in March. He was Megasera 15. He's 7 and 8, and he held his rank. Let's see how he does let's see how he does in. Let's see how he does in July. Does he go 7 and 8 and hold his rank again?
That's so bizarre to have that happen twice. They're basically okay, you don't have to get a Kachikoshi. You can just
close enough. Let's play horseshoes.
Yeah, you would take that guy out to the casino, right?
Man,
that's nuts. Well, Roga hasn't shown us as much as he was hyped for.
Yeah, usually you get the 7 and 8, you get the pass once, and then the second time they're like, "We gave you this once."
We're not giving it.
Give him another one.
That makes you think, especially because they punished Hokuto Fuji.
I know.
It makes you think that they think he's got something.
I'm taking it personally a little bit.
maybe slightly.
I'm intrigued by this.
Well, I'm feeling a little. I'm not attached enough to Roga to feel like it's okay to do that to Hokuto Fuji.
Well, here's what happens. If Roga gets a 7 and 8 in July, I am betting the house on 15 West.
That's his new home.
Why move?
Permanent spot for him.
Why change?
I know, right? I mean, that's just some weird. That's like some Tobizaru stuff. I don't know.
At that point now, it's like I'd be upset if he goes anywhere else. If he gets an 8 and 7, I'm like, come on, we have a thing going here.
It's true. I mean, maybe we really do got to see it happen again.
I don't know.
For amusement's sake.
For amusement's sake, like you said, like it still feels like he's finding his footing.
He might be a slow climber.
Slow burner. Also, like it is that he was a hot prospect in Juryo, and now he's here and he can just barely make ends meet.
And like no one's really paying attention to him at all.
Yeah, it's
that chasm.
Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe third time's a charm, or maybe third time's another 7 and 8 at 15 West. I want to know. I am curious. I need these answers.
I have such a hard time believing they would do it again.
I saw
it would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, oh, he was 14 West. Maybe they gave him a hold. It's like it was the same rank twice. What?
Well, Rogo, you better earn.
Roga either needs to earn it or has already earned it.
Yeah, like somehow he's earned the favor of the sumo gods.
Gosh, man.
So now we have Kageyagi, Maegashira 16 East, up from Juryo 5 East with an 11 and 4. So it's been 3 years?
Well, 3 years since he was in the upper ranks, and we were talking about what does he need to get the Sanyaku.
Got it, okay.
And then he just started that fade down, and then he just couldn't figure it out for ever since.
And he's been in Juryo for a while now. Another guy that I didn't expect to see back.
Yeah.
So you got a pile of guys here where it's like, oh, we banished them to Juryo, we'll never see them again, and they found something in them. And it's a combination of two things. They found something in them, and like we were saying, if you're too good, you don't stay in Juryo.
You don't.
So they're beating up these guys who are career Juryo guys.
For Kageyaki, it's weird because like he is the career Juryo guy now. It's like sort of like with Chiyoshoma. You're looking at them, you're like, okay, on one hand they got 11 and 4, 12 and 3. We always wanted them to do well. Maybe this is the time.
But those were Juryo scores.
They almost man. Juryo stocks are low these days.
I know. I feel like they're getting completely depleted. You know, because like I said, these hot shots, they're out of Juryo in 1 or 2 tournaments. They're not doing the slow climb up the ranks.
So, for Kageyaki, every chance in the top division is a chance to push forward, to buck the trend.
Try again.
And all the best.
And now we have Bushozan, almost my enemy. And I don't really mean it that way because I like Bushozan. But this whole comparison to Takakeisho does not work for me. And now I'm having a hard time dealing with him back in the top division.
I have good news for you.
What's that?
Bad news, good news.
Okay.
Every single time he comes to the top division, he gets double-digit losses. For him, his goal is a 6 and 9.
Yeah.
I want him to come storming out of the gates. In the same way that I wanted Mitoryu to do really well with that Juryo Yusho.
The only thing that would make this amusing is if Bushozan was in the Yusho race and had to fight Takakeisho.
I would love that. That'd be hilarious.
I mean, the odds of Bushozan and Takakeisho ever fighting are pretty slim.
Next to nil.
But that would be okay for me for July. But other than that, it's like, I can't do this comparison thing.
Yeah.
I sort of get it, but I don't like it.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I think it's the body. They have a very similar body, but the face is totally different.
Here we go.
All right, let's do our comparisons.
The
body is very similar.
Yeah. You see it.
But the face, no.
No.
And the skin coloring. Bushozan is quite a bit paler.
All right. Well.
But if you were to just take the heads off, you would think
there's a similarity there. There's a similarity.
I'm not feeling it.
You know, sometimes. Yeah. So, when you're doing American NCAA, college bracket.
Yeah.
And, you see the guy 16 up against the 1.
Yep.
And you're like, there's no way in hell that 16's winning. But you sort of want to root for him anyway.
Yes.
You're not rooting for him because you think you win. You're rooting for him. You're just like, someone's got to do it.
Right. It's got to happen eventually.
It's just like, it's got to happen eventually. That is exactly how I feel for Bushozan. It's like, so he's gonna pull that out. He's gonna go 10-5, and no one's gonna see it coming. I'm just like, come on.
You know what?
It is not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, but I'm up for anything.
I'm up for anything. Yeah.
July is supposed to be the time where all of my expectations are crushed.
Yeah. Again, 6-9 would be his career best record in the top division.
And that probably still wouldn't be enough to keep him up here.
No, it wouldn't be. No, he needs a lot better.
Well, if he gets a 7-8, they should let him stay. Okay,
He's
because
not
they let Roga do it.
No, he's not Roga. That's the problem.
I know.
You can only do it for one person.
It's like, you look too much like Takakeisho. Go.
Oh, yeah. They'll be mad at him by accident.
So, best elected Bushozan to at least get a 6-9. That's not a huge, huge ceiling.
Yeah, start small and work your way up.
Yeah. And our final guy of the Banzuke, Nishiki Fuji, Maegashira 17 East, down from 12 East with a 5-10. He almost was not spared.
Barely spared. They could have.
They could have. They spared him. They felt for him. Who in Juryo could have taken the spot?
It would have been Onokatsu.
Okay.
Probably. Or they could have spared Takeru Fuji.
And they didn't.
So
they had a reason.
So it was Toki Hayate was like a maybe, but
nah.
No. Nishiki Fuji had the tenure. He had enough of a buffer at 12 East to just barely scrape by. But now it's do or die for him now, though.
We know that he's super injured.
Yes.
He is going the way of Enho. He's another one of these really small guys that he's put everything he could into sumo, but eventually they wear you down.
Yeah.
If you're too small, you're going to get smacked around.
Yeah, the amount of time between small Terunofuji is the longer it takes for it to come back, the more you're second guessing it comes back.
Right, like you'll probably never see it again. Maybe you'll see a glimpse of it in one match or something, but
yeah, maybe he'll do it in Juryo. I don't want to say that though. I wanted,
but he could do well in Juryo. Maybe
he'd do so. I know. I hate.
I don't want to say that.
I don't want to say that. I want him to stick around. I want him to get a nice strong 9-6, and like upend someone and look good and be like, yeah, he did it.
The only shame about Nishiki Fuji and Midori Fuji being in the same stable is they actually would have quite an interesting match.
Fun fight.
Yeah, our two smallest guys can't fight each other. That stinks. So, big question mark for him.
Big question mark.
He might be able to pull it off, but once again, he does have Murderer's Row himself.
He does. We'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I'm rooting for you, buddy, but I don't know.
Not having a strong...
Crystal ball's looking cloudy today.
Yeah. So, with Juryo, we had 5 demotions.
5 demotions. So we have Toki Hayate goes down. Takeru Fuji goes down. We had Mitoryu, that we were just talking about. We had Tsurugisho, and we had Tomokaze.
Okay.
Tomokaze took a deep dive.
Oh, man. Poor Tomokaze.
Yeah. So, people to look at for Juryo are Toki Hayate and Takeru Fuji, who I think will rebound back. Onokatsu is the latest new hotness. So, we were talking about people that spend no time in Juryo. That's the trend. So,
well, you can tell when you see a guy doesn't have a top knot.
Yeah. Also, you could see if a guy doesn't have a year in sumo yet, and he's.
Jeez, man, what is going on with this? Like some of these guys,
people are they're getting shot at.
It's great though.
Shot out of cannons.
Yeah.
They
better do their Shiko, man.
Hakuoho teetering, still working through the 80,000 problems thrown at him.
Man, what a shame. I really hope that's not going to go down as had such great potential and we never see it come back.
We have to think that way until he proves us wrong.
I know.
I hate it. I want him back. I want those promises that he made kept.
I know.
So there's a sumo food channel on YouTube, and this Nabatame is part of that.
Uh-huh.
So this is a big deal for people who are part of that. I watched a couple episodes of that. It is fun to see, it is a very human side to these kids.
Right. It's very good to see the inner workings of sumo because
also these kids are so young.
So young.
You forget because you look at them, like particularly in sumo, where everybody has a certain posture and a certain demeanor, and the way you talk and present yourself and dress, everything's so regimented, very military. But then here these guys, and like they went around, like I think there was the one episode that I watched, like they went around the room, they're like, oh, what do you want for your birthday, guys? Just like, I want to Switch. I'm like,
and you're like, oh, just like normal people,
normal kids hanging out, man. It feels good. Feels good to see that. But anyway, so he's in the. I'm not gonna put pressure on him. I'm just gonna look away and let him.
Right,
let him,
we've noticed.
Let him get his sea legs. But like the rest of these people, though, it's sort of just a mixed bag.
These are the career.
Tamashoho is making his way up. He's Tamawashi's son-in-law, brother-in-law, maybe. Yeah, so good to see that. Suruguso, we'll see how he fights on one knee in Juryo.
Wins the Juryo show.
So, yeah, Juryo looks like it's a little softer this tournament.
Yeah. It's a bunch of injured dudes.
And not like the mound of prospects is drying up a little bit because they're all surging up.
Right, and you got two guys where like one foot's already out of Juryo.
Yeah, so.
But we'll see. Yeah. I mean, July could change some things.
Yeah. Well, also that could ultimately mean fewer promotions. We had 5. Right. And I think last tournament we had like 6. There's been a lot of turnover in Juryo.
I don't expect that this tournament.
Not this tournament, which could be helpful to some people.
Right. We need to like slow down on the extremes here.
We're gonna turn the Juryo faucet off a little bit.
Yeah.
But in any case, that is it.
Now I typically forget to do the predictions. We've already given them to you.
Yes.
But I'm gonna say them again. So I'm going with Hoshoryu. This seems to be a trend for me. I've picked him 2 tournaments in a row now. But July is his tournament, so I'm going to stick with that pick. I will probably change in September if he disappoints me again. I'm not picking him a third time.
Yep. So when we had talked about this during the Guest of Banzuke stream, I said that I wasn't going to pick Onosato 2 times in a row. More like for the same reason. I'm just like, I've already gotten him. I'm gonna take my foot off the gas and go with someone else. And we were talking about it, and I liked Abi.
Yeah.
I like what we were seeing about Abi, or like we were talking about him. Like he had a really good tournament. And so, like, I felt like he's finally turning the corner. So I picked on him sort of in the moment, and then I thought about it, and I'm just like, nah, I'm going with it. Dark horse it.
Yeah. Well, he's won one already, so it's not like it seems like once you get one under your belt, it's not impossible anymore.
Yep.
So, same case for Hoshoryu. Both of these guys capable of doing it again, especially in a slippery basho where anything can happen. But the odds of us getting, being right twice in a row, that seems astronomical.
I'm not even thinking about it. Just let it happen.
So it's gonna end up being Onosato probably.
That would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
It would be It would make all these people super mad.
It would be funny if he wins the Yusho with a 14-1. It's like that one counts.
Oh, that's even better. Put that on the checklist.
Yes, we're gonna put that on the checklist.
Okay, Onosato. So if our people don't win, Onosato gets a 14-1 and rubs it in everyone's face.
Like, oh, I guess I'm a real winner now.
I guess it's a real Yusho. No.
So let's see. Any other checklist items?
Yep.
Takakeisho gets out of Kadoban.
Kirishima does not become Kiribayama.
Yes, we really would like to see him come back to Ozeki.
He needs to go back.
Ura goes 8-0.
Ura goes 7-0 and then 0-8.
Yes, let's go for a little bit higher this time.
7-0.
So it can be a 7-8.
I mean, he got a 7-8 before.
Right, but it's a different.
Yeah, it just does it again. Takayasu takes 2 days off and then goes 13-2.
Awesome! That would be so awesome. I love it.
It's just a Thursday and Friday. He's just like, I'm not feeling it.
I want Oho to surprise me.
That'd be nice.
I'm really feeling that right now. A strong desire to be surprised.
Yeah. You did mention that you want something to happen in July.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Oho, but if it's not Oho, put on the checklist a generic. Yeah. I want a big surprise. Yeah. That's a minor thing. Yeah.
So
something wild.
That'll be 2 things. So Oho impresses us or does something surprising, and then in general, we want there to be some what kind of a moment come out of July
that's giving you like it's the last couple of days of the tournament and you're just hyped because you're like, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen?
Yeah. So it could be anything. It could be like 5 Kataskasi in a row.
It could be Waka Takakage and Wakamoto Haru fighting in a playoff.
It could be we need the brother playoff or the stable playoff.
Yep. Something wild like that. And we've already had the first time winner enough times.
Yeah, that's
like
surprise.
old hat.
That's not a surprise anymore.
No, we need something.
It'd be interesting now, dude. Like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like, people do that, right?
Yeah.
Takayasu winning a Yusho, but you know how that is.
Yeah.
You just can't even ask for that anymore.
Yeah, but if we have
if that happened,
yeah. If we have a Midori Fuji Chiyoshoma double Henka.
Double Henka, love it. And those two would be pretty much the only ones who would pull that off.
Yep. So then they just go north-south, and then they have to fight normal.
You're like, man, that really didn't work out, did it? And in which case, we would definitely approve of that Henka.
It'd be hilarious.
Double Henka is always approved.
Double Henka is wild.
Yes. You can't be mad with the double Henka.
There's no way. There's no way. They both did the same thing. You just look at it, it's like, I guess you got to fight normal now.
Right. It's neutralized.
Oh, well.
All right. Well, thank you all who attended the Guess the Bonsake stream. That was pretty awesome and fun. Really appreciate all of the subscribers' involvement because there was a time where John and I were getting 15 views a video.
Yeah.
And no comments.
No comments.
It's just like we're talking to ourselves, basically.
We're just hanging out.
So, we still like hanging out and talking sumo, but it's just a lot more fun that there's many more of you joining us. So,
we broke 400 subscribers.
Yeah, we're headed the next goal is 500. It'll take a little while, but having 400 feels pretty good. So, thank you all. Enjoy the, tournament. You'll see us for live streams. We'll probably go on Sunday Morning Sumo Show again, and you want to check us out there if we go on that. So there'll be plenty more 42 opinions if you stick around.
Yeah. Starts the 14th.
The tournament.
Yeah. So it's the second Sunday, but because the way the calendar is, this is as late as you can get in on a second Sunday.
Yes. Is this the second tournament where this has happened? Where I think it is.
There was a tournament in recent memory that it was later on, like it was the third Sunday, but it was also because the first it was a similar situation that it was a little bit later on, but because of the way the weeks broke out.
Yeah. So we'll be doing a late tournament, but you'll see plenty of us. So.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks for watching us.
Peace.